come on. There you go. That won't hurt, though. Hello, Internetians. My name is Josh Elsewhere, and I am your coach of the Phillies, Soldu. Welcome one and all back again, once again, to the APA. This is going to be our Week 8 team builder as we look to take on GeneralTarheel, my boy Ben, and his Charizards. We are 1-1 against him. Actually, we played him in APA a couple of seasons ago, as I covered for my boy Kelly for a week. And then we played him in P4G Next Generation, and his psychic resist was Nidoqueen and I had a Tapu Lele. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, I'm really excited to face him today. He's a really good friend of mine, so be sure to go check him out in the description below. And let us get into all the Pokemon that he could possibly be bringing, which should be appearing on your screen very shortly. He has a team that consists of... What does his team consist of? There's a Landorus Therian. There is a Terrakion, a Greninja, a Mega Venusaur, a Bronzong, a Vaporeon, an Arcanine, an Azelf, a Comfey, a Kecleon, and a Togedemaru. So I had like two different ideas, or two different times when I was building this, when I was really confident that I knew what he was going to bring. So one was, I'm like, okay, he's going to bring Lando, Terrakion, Greninja, Mega Venusaur, Bronzong, Vaporeon. The top 6, it completely is his, like, probably his best 6 to take me on. And then I watched some of his other team builders just to get an idea of how he's been using this specific team. And I found out that in Week 4, when he used his first team last, he said that he wanted to bring the mons he hasn't used yet. So now I'm like, okay, so he's going to bring the mons he hasn't used that and build around that, which would be really weird because those 3 would be Arcanine, Azelf, and Kecleon. So I'm not sure what to expect, but I've prepped for just about everything I can. I'm a bit shaky on this specific team. It's not as solid to me as some of the other teams were, but I do believe it's still probably the best thing I could be bringing versus him. Maybe. I'm still kind of iffy on some of the sets, but this is what we're going to go in with, so let us talk about it. Now, his team is very, very scary. He has great offensive threats. Right there, top 3, Lando, Terrakion, Greninja. Those are really big threats to my team. Greninja, not as much. I do have good switch-ins to it, but he can run the right set to beat me. Like, I have my Tapu Fini, my Snorlax, my Virizion, and my Guzzlord, which can all switch into it decently well. But Gunk Shot, Low Kick, and Ice Beam all exist. Which would be okay, because then he can't run both stabs if he's running all 3 of those. And it also means he can't run Water Shuriken with those 2 stabs. Because then, which would mean my Mega Aerodactyl will be able to revenge kill it with Stone Edge, or or anything really. I know that my biggest issue with this team was gonna be breaking his core. Mega Venusaur Vaporeon is a core that I love. I love that core. I use it. I've used it multiple times. It's always very, very solid. I know why it's very, very solid, but beating it is super annoying. So, breaking to that was going to be a hell of a time, especially when you throw Arcanine in the mix. Azelf. Azelf could definitely be a problem depending on what it is, but I do think I'm fine against it. As well as something like the Togedemaru. Togedemaru, I think, is the one mon that I immediately cross out that he is not bringing. I have a Jolteon and a Hippowdon, both of which would stop it indefinitely. And unless he is Choice Scarf, I have Mega Aerodactyl to always take it down. I also have other Pokemon that can be faster than it. So I don't think he's bringing Togedemaru. I don't think he's bringing Comfey. Not when I have a Durant that I've said that I would like bringing. I can't see it happening. And if he does, I also have a Snorlax, which he could bring Leak Seed for, but I would beat Comfey 1v1 immediately because I have Heavy Slam. So I don't think he's going to bring Comfey. So if he brings Comfey, I'm probably a little least prepped for the Comfey. So if he brings it, he brings it. But I have ways around it. Not a lot, but I have some. Now, Bronzong. Bronzong's really annoying. That combined with Mega Venusaur, Vaporeon, and Arcanine, I was definitely more concerned in the entire team building process. I spent a long time on this team. Not really as much calcing, but as much as just staring at the matchup, just wishing it would not happen. Like, that was my biggest obstacle. Like, I can beat everything else very comfortably. Like, if I can weaken his Wall Core, the second I weaken his Wall Core, I'm fine. Like, I'm going to be in a good position. Because I feel like I can keep him weakened, and then my sweepers or my fast mons can take out the rest of his stuff. So, very, very concerned with this, but let's get into what we're bringing. So the first mon that I knew that I wanted to bring, we tossed a couple ideas of mons that were really, really good. But after I looked at the match for a while, I knew what I wanted my win con to be. I knew what I wanted to build around. And that was going to be my Mew. So my Mew, your name is Leah. You are level 50. And I don't know what the item I wanted was. But I knew I wanted Nasty Plot, Psyshock. I think I went with Psyshock. Did I switch it to Psychic? I think I could Psyshock so I could beat. Yeah. So I could beat Comfey. And then bringing this back, Vacuum Wave. So he has Greninja, Terrakion, both Mon, Scarf type tomorrow maybe. A Kecleon maybe. Both Mons that I would want weakened for me to be able to, or both Mons that I want to hit with Vacuum Wave. Priority fighting is really good against the team. If Mew got Mach Punch, you bet your ass this would be SD, Zen, Sucker, Mach. Or, instead of Sucker, maybe Ice Punch. Because that would destroy him. But anyway, except for the double intimidate, which kind of held me back. But this is what I wanted. I didn't know anything else that I wanted about this Mew, so I moved on and I left it there for a second. And there was another idea that I wanted to toss out there, because obviously this Mon's not going to break through Bronzong. Ever. The Bronzong needs to be pressured highly before I can, you know... Hold on. Alright. Waiting on dirt to gen mine. Then I'll be ready. Shout out to Ben for hitting me up. Okay. Once I finish this, I'm actually fighting him. But I wanted to pressure the Bronzong. Right? I wanted to be able to pressure the Bronzong really well. But I wanted something that could pressure the Bronzong that could also pressure the rest of his defensive core. So here's what I came up with. I knew that I wanted Jolteon, right? Jolteon, look at his team. I can Volt Switch around his team really, really easily. He has Lander T, but I don't think he just wants to throw in Lander T at all and get blown away. Especially when that could be his sweeper. So Arthur, I feel like that's spelled wrong. Anyway, I didn't know what item I wanted. I thought about it. I had an idea, but I wasn't 100% sold on it yet. I typed in Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Empower Ice, and Extra Sensory, which you don't get. I think you're Raikou. It's okay. It doesn't matter that it doesn't get Extra Sensory. I ultimately got rid of it anyway. I didn't know I didn't get Extra Sensory. Look at me being stupid. But after a while, after doing some calc, I realized that Extra Sensory wouldn't have done the damage I needed anyway to Mega Venusaur. I really wanted a lot of damage to that. Because, once I got rid of that, then other Mons that you're going to see are going to go completely ham. So I ended up going with Synchronoise, and I went with the Psyche Emvee. Unless he is max special defense, once he comes in on rocks, takes a Thunderbolt from this Jolteon, Z Synchronoise is going to blow that Venusaur out of the water. Which I'm really excited for. Z Synchronoise will destroy him, and it'll be an amazing, amazing day. Because once I get rid of that Mega Venusaur, my team just starts really, really hammering this thing down. Because this can also pressure the Vaporeon, which is also another mon I really want to pressure. Two mons that I want to pressure so that this thing can destroy him is the Vaporeon and the Bronzong. Once I pressure those two enough, I'm good. And if I can get rid of the Venusaur, so here's why I want to get rid of the Venusaur. If I get rid of the Venusaur, one of his best Spadef sponges to come in on this Jolteon is going to be the Bronzong, right? So I had Gengar on here. So I could Volt Switch, get rid of the Mega Venusaur, Volt Switch on the Bronzong whenever I bring this in, drop in Gengar, click Spec Shadow Ball, right? Didn't know what else I wanted. But I had Gengar on here. Spec Shadow Ball. And that was a really good idea for a while. But I ultimately got rid of it. Because it didn't do the damage I needed to Vaporeon. So, I went back to square one, and this is where I got stuck for a while. I knew a couple mons I wanted. I had these two mons just sitting on here. I knew I wanted Finny. Finny was invaluable during this match. Because it switches into a Gren. It can help me handle the Terrakion. It can help me handle the Landorus. It basically helps me handle everything. And of course I wanted the Hippowdon as a way to handle the... What are you? Tracheon. A really good Tracheon solid answer. So, I wanted these two. You are Nose Whistles. And you are Wee Woo. So I was kind of stuck here for a while. Didn't know what else I wanted. I typed in Moonblast just for the hell of it. And then I typed in Stealth Rock over here. And then EQ and Slack Off. 3 moves you're always going to see. I'm okay at this point. Like, I'm not doing the worst. I ended up typing in Toxic because Toxic would let me hit the Vaporeon. And it would also allow me to Toxic the Landorus. So, here I am, stuck. Thinking about what I wanted the last two. And after a while of thinking, I kind of reversed it, right? I like, you know, sometimes you stare at the team and you're like, what 6 do I bring? So I reversed it and I said, what 5 do I not want to bring? That's how I built the last team and it worked out well. I don't want to bring the Rapidash. I'd love to bring Rapidash because I haven't brought it yet and I want to just do stuff with it. But he has Terrakion, Greninja, Vaporeon, Arcanine, like, it just wouldn't work out. I wanted to bring Durant a lot. I really, really wanted to bring Life Orb Claws Durant because, honestly, unless he had a Scarfer to outspeed it and beat it, the only thing he had to stop it was his Elf from Greninja. Which I could switch out versus. And I would go Brazy. And I really, really wanted that, but I ultimately didn't go with it. I crossed that off. I didn't want Guzzlord. Too slow in this matchup, although it would do a lot of work if he didn't bring Comfey, because he wouldn't have good Dark Hits. Whew. I'm sorry, I just woke up, guys. He wouldn't have good Dark Answers because Terrakion and Greninja are kind of not the bulkiest. I just knew I didn't want it. Virizion ended up taking off. I did have Virizion in here originally, and it was because I thought fighting resisted poison, so I thought it was neutral against Mega Venusaur Sludge Bomb. And if that was the case, you would see Virizion on here in spot number 2 because Taunt Synthesis Virizion would go crazy against him. Like, absolutely insane. Max speed, max HP. You can speed out Terrakion if you didn't run max speed. I could close combat it or Sacred Sword it. Greninja I would take hits from. I'd be able to blow it away. I'd be able to taunt the Landorus. Taunt the Venusaur and beat it kind of 1v1. Pressure the Vaporeon, etc., 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 and on and on forever. But after I figured out that it was neutral, I crossed that out. So I crossed out those 4. So now I'm looking at Gengar, again, Snorlax, and Mega Aerodactyl. 2 of those mons are going to come, one of them is not. Well, I was like, okay, you know what? If those 3 mons are what's left, I know for a fact I'm bringing Mega Aerodactyl. Because Mega Aerodactyl is ridiculous. It's super fast. It has a great speed versus this team. You are a terror. There's no reason for me to not bring it. Right? So, this set, just know that this is one of the last things I do, because I threw around this set forever. Home Claws, Roost, Taunts, all kinds of stuff. But, after going back and just, like, poking around at some of these sets, like, I was just deciding, like, I'm going to go ahead and start EVing stuff while I'm just, like, thinking. I threw around this speed forever. What are you going to end up being? This much speed. Just a little bit of speed, just you can get over some of this stuff. I'd love to run enough for, like, Landorus and stuff, but that's not going to happen. Because I need max HP, I need 60 in defense, 4 in speed F. And I wanted a lot of special attack. Otherwise, I would have just put this to be higher against certain things like certain Landorus benchmarks. So what does this do? One of the 4s is something. I think it was originally when I had 4 defense, so. Let's see his team again. Oh, no. So 4 for Death lets me take a Dark Pulse from Foal, I think. From Greninja. A specific Dark Pulse, I think Specs. Maybe either Life Orb or Specs. But 60 in defense is going to allow me to take 2 Earthquakes from the Landorus. And then 44 speed, of course, just to get over stuff. Anything that's speed creeping me, like a defensive Landorus. And because I'm running all this, I'm, of course, going to go with Roost as last slot. I wanted Scald, I wanted Ice Beam, I wanted all kinds of stuff, but I ended up going fast. You shouldn't see that. You didn't see that. Great. So I knew I wanted this spread. The spread was very good against him. Being able to absorb hits from the Landorus and maybe just win. This, I wasn't sure yet. This, I weren't typing defog because I knew I'd want defog. I also talked in taunt so I could stop the Vaporeon from wishing against me. And this could actually beat a 1v1. It's not going to be the Mega Venusaur, but I'm going to have to deal with the Mega Venusaur offensively. So, obviously I'm going to have max HP on this, and I left it. I wanted leftovers. I wasn't sure about the last stuff. This, I wanted leftovers. And I left it there because I wasn't solid on that matchup. And after so long of thinking, going back on those other 4, and thinking some more, I finally settled on the last Mon, which I'm still not sure about, but I feel like it's going to be too prepped for Snorlax, so I put Big Gengar back on this team. Except I didn't want Specs this time. I typed in Specs a couple times, so. Like, I ultimately did not want Specs. So Gengar, who is named Lavender, is going to run the Expert Belt. It's going to run Curse Body, it's going to run Taunt, and Shadow Ball. And then left it. Again. And I went and filled out my last 2 defensive Mons, and I'll come back to Gengar. Alright? So, like, looking at the team, it's looking pretty good. Like, I have these 2 will be able to defensively check, just these 3, kind of. We'll be able to defensively check just about whatever he throws at me to an extent. Like, they're going to help me solidly pivot, but I'm going to have to play off my offense to win this game, which is very scary for me because it's not what I do as much as when I play safe and then make that one play that gets me into a good position and then just start barreling through. But I want to protect on this because I was too afraid of a Z move from the Greninja, but Protect would also let me stay healthy as much as possible, keeping my leftovers up, and maybe one day, bring my Finny back to life. Like, I've actually had a Finny at 3%, ended up at 50% by the end of the game. So, when it came to EVs and stuff, like, of course when I'm EVing all these Mons, like, I'm thinking, you know, what do I want? In terms of EVs, I don't think I finished that. I think I finally, like, at that time I was like, oh wait, I know what I want Arrow to have. I want Arrow to be all-out attacker. Like, I want 100% Crunch. I definitely want Crunch because it'll do a lot of damage to the Bronzong, as well as checking the Azelf. I want Aqua Tail because I can hit the Terrakion and the Landorus at once. I want Aerial Ace because Mega Venusaur is a pain in the ass, and then of course because I'm kind of losing ways to beat the Arcanine, I wanted Stone Edge. All right, so that's what I went with. For EVs, I didn't go anything too special. I went with Max Attack. I went with enough speed for the Greninja. And then I went with the rest in HP with an Adamant Nature. So, that's what I went with. I think you're the wrong speed. I think you should be 1 point slower to be able to do that. You can still do 1 point slow, but I don't care. So that's my Mega Aerodactyl. And then I filled out the last 2 moves and then decided to clean up the EV. So these last 2 moves I threw around forever. I thought about Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam. I thought about Focus Blast. I thought about SixftHax, changing this to Wisp, and all kinds of stuff. Actually, Wisp Taunt Hex was actually one that I was really considering. But I ultimately decided on Taunt 3 attacks. I still think Taunt 3 attacks is really good. And the 3 attacks I went with were Shadow Ball, Energy Ball for the Vaporeon, and the Terrakion, and the Greninja. And then finally, I went with Psychic to help me versus the Venusaur. So, and then nothing too special about these EVs either. I think you're like this. And then Intimidation. So, with that, that's just about everything that I had to do. I just had to start filling in the last slots. I actually changed this, though, to Ice Fang. Because I was like, wait, I'm going to be trying to keep Mr. Terrain as much as possible so I don't get toxic by the Vaporeon. Gonna want Ice Fang instead so I can beat down the Landorus. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to talk to the Vaporeon much anyway, so. My Hippo has 60 attack, which is going to allow me to 2-hit KO, I think, max HP Landorus after Rocks. Max HP, and it's for Def. It just has 4 speed, because why not? Right? 68. And that allows some things to happen. I believe it's uninvested Hydro Pump. I know doesn't kill, or not uninvested, but a non-Life Orb Hydro Pump doesn't kill. It doesn't get 2-hit KO'd by a Scar Psychic from the Azelf, which is very, very good. Because that gives me a secondary Azelf answer. Outside of Sand Up Arrow, which would take virtually nothing. from Psychic, unless it's like Life Orb or something. And then I threw the rest into defense to be as bulky as possible, to take on Landorus, take on Terrakion, to take on everything as best as possible. And then that was my Hippowdon. Good solid answer here. I have to be very, very careful with this thing now. I cannot let this thing get too weakened, because I'll lose. And then finally, these two spreads. For Finny, I went with... Where did you go? Where did you go, Finny? Okay, so I went with 148 speed, which is just enough to get above Comfey and stuff, so I could taunt it. Unless it was like draining. Like the only thing it would be able to prioritize me would be Draining Kiss. But if it's uninvested, oof, I got it. If it's uninvested, I got it, and I can taunt it and hopefully beat it 1v1 without Calm Minds and Leech Seeds. So, I went with the rest into defense with Bold Nature because just naturally my Spadef will allow me to take on Greninja. Like Dark Hydro Pump from Life Orb Greninja, I believe, with leftovers, has a 20% chance to 4-hit KO me. And that's without Protect, getting me my HP back. So, I wanted the rest in defense to take Gunk Shot as best as possible, to take potentially Poison Emvee as best as possible, to also take on Terrakion and Landorus as best as possible. Definitely the big three offensive ones I'm scared of. And then finally, you. I did not do anything special with you, I don't think. No, I just went with Max and then said I want enough for the Greninja and then the rest in bulk to take hits as best as possible. Nothing too special there. That's supposed to be 4 and 4, which hopefully I have Kurt Jenning for me, and I know Kurt would know how to fix that. So that's gonna be the squad. Oh wait, and this I ran Cobbleberry because Greninja, and also something else I was afraid of. Mainly that. I mean, it helps me against his other stuff like Sucker Punch on Kecleon. But that's gonna be game, or that's gonna be game. Oh, well, that's gonna be the team. Mew, Jolteon, Tapu Fini, Hippowdon, Mega Aerodactyl, Gengar. Definitely think I could have brought some other stuff. Definitely think this isn't the most favorite matchup, but it's definitely not the worst matchup ever. It's definitely, I feel like this matchup is definitely in my favor, but I'm just like overthinking this team to hell and back, like I always do. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you tune in tomorrow so you can see the actual battle, see how we do, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.